What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo. And originally, when I first took a look at Igniz's kit, I was looking at this core effect that regarded his darkness, right? Deals darkness damage equal to 30% of attack to the target upon landing, and attack guard included. And the way that I took this thing was, it was pretty much like Rugal's, right? And it's just a dot effect that only lasts for about 1 second, and then it's this, so it really wouldn't be that relevant in Guild Raid. However, I have been proven wrong. Actually, Igniz is quite insane against Omega Rugal. When you apply that darkness, he's actually nuts, because what this actually is every time he hits Rugal, or every time he hits an opponent, he actually applies darkness with no cooldown. So there's no need for a lasting dot effect, because it technically it's not a lasting dot effect. But because if you're constantly hitting and you're constantly awakening, you awaken your character and you're constantly spamming their skills, he's going to be applying darkness. Even when he just does his regular basic attacks, he's still applying darkness. So let's jump into Guild Raid. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is actually quite insane. Wow. I mean, this is nuts. And this blew me out of the water. And this really does make Igniz even better than what I originally thought he was. Which is saying something, because I already thought Igniz was insane, right? So let me see, get an Igniz team here. There we go. We got Igniz in leadership. We got Geese as a striker. You guys can't see him because my ugly mug's in the way. So let's jump in here. Let's do this. I'll watch this. This is crazy. If it ever loads. I watch this meter just melt. And look at this. Boom. We'll do the 3 PG. He is melting the hell out of this bar because he's constantly applying darkness. Look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy, right? He's just melting that bar like it's nothing. So this is something we're definitely going to have to look out for in the future when it comes to these characters. Even when he's doing his basic attacks, he's still applying darkness no matter what. And after I did this little test, that got me thinking, man. It's like, well, wait a minute now. Even when he's doing his basic attacks, you see that bar just melting, right? This is crazy. And because he has that crazy leadership, he melts that meter in no time. And this isn't a perfect run by any means, because I'm just coming in here on a whim. Right? Even when he does his 3 PG in his default, right at the very beginning, he'll apply a little darkness. Look at how easy this is. This is wild. He just does his skills a couple times, and then he just destroys Rugal. I mean, this is a joke, guys. This is a joke for Igniz. Not to mention that Igniz has this lasting 10-second dot effect for shock damage on his first skill, right? he's got this lasting shock damage, right? That's always being applied. And while we're applying that darkness, we're able to just break this meter so quick. Whoops. I mean, we already hit 300 million, no problem. Very, very easy for Igniz. Could have done better if I would actually did a practice run and just started spamming my skills to run through it and practice the rotation. But I just wanted to show you all this because this is actually crazy. And this got me thinking. I thought, well, wait a minute. If Igniz can do this, right? Let's get out of here. Come on, come on. All right, here we go. If Igniz has this core effect, what about Rugal? Because Rugal has a similar core effect. Rugal's actually deals bleed equal 80% of attack to the target upon landing a skill, right? Landing a skill. So when I think skill, I think active skills, right? I think active skills, right? But it just applies for a second, then it goes away. You land another skill, applies the bleed, then it goes away, right? Let me show you something here. So if you go into Dungeon of Trials, it does take it a while when we go to Dungeon of Trials. So I want you to watch this. Check this out. So, again, with Rugal, I'm thinking, active skills. And whereas with Igniz, it says landing and attack, right? They're similar core effects, but are they really different? Well, that's what we're going to find out right now. The loading screen for this game mode is ridiculous. Okay. So I'll switch to Rugal. So there's bleed. Bleed, right? You just do an active skill. Bleed, right? Now watch this. Bleed. Bleed. So even as basic, like, it's only for a brief moment, but you're still able to apply bleed. So as long as you're constantly attacking, you have bleed constantly up, right? Let's try Igniz. Basic, darkness. Darkness. Look at that. So even his basic attacks apply darkness. Whoops. Just like his regular skills. So even though they're worded different, they work the same way. Whenever you're landing a hit, you're applying the dot effect that they're saying the characters can do, right? So in Igniz's case, he's applying darkness. In Rugal's case, he's applying bleed. And this actually makes these characters way better. It means that Rugal's much better than what I ever anticipated because now he's actually more relevant for Nightmare Geese because of the bleed, right? He's actually even better against Immortal Victor because of the bleed. Igniz here, because of the darkness, is going to be even better against Immortal Nyx because of the darkness, right? And of course, against Expert, against Rugal, right? It just means that even though like they don't have it's not exactly a lasting dot effect, right? I mean, it is, but it isn't, right? You have to keep landing hits. You have to keep doing hits in order for your dot effect to stay up, right? To stay engaged. Whereas where you have a lasting dot effect, you just apply from one skill, right? Or the core effect, whatever. And it just stays there for 7 seconds to 10 seconds, whatever their core effect is or their skill effect. And with Igniz and Rugal, it's different because you have to just keep landing hits. So whenever they're awakened, they'll constantly apply that dot effect. But like in Igniz's case, where he's got that 1 second cooldown from his core effect, he can just keep doing it over and over and over and over. Like when you have your hyper armor from your second skill and you're holding your basic attack, right? You're still applying darkness while you're doing your basic attack because you're landing hits. It's actually quite insane. So I was wrong. I've been wrong for some time now because I really didn't think this was very relevant, right? Every time I looked at this, I thought, oh man, they got to land a skill to be able to do it. But no, that's not the case. You're actually got to be able to land hits, and you got to be able to constantly land hits, keep that dot effect applied the whole time. And like if you're playing with characters that you're spamming skills, when we see that kind of core effect, we now know that that dot effect will stay up during their awakened skill or whenever they're still doing basic attacks. Right? This is actually pretty cool. And also when we see a character that has that kind of dot effect and they can reset their skills or they have that 1 second cooldown or more, whatever, maybe they'll do that in the future for other characters like Igniz, that they'll be able to just keep more or less, bringing their cooldown down to where they can keep doing their skills over and over and over and keep applying that dot. This is actually pretty amazing, and it really boosts up the stocks, in my opinion, as far as both of these characters. I think that's actually pretty cool. So, wow. So I'm really happy and impressed that these kinds of core effects are so powerful, especially on a character like Igniz, where they can actually drop their cooldowns, where they're actually using their active skills much more often. And the fact that these BS characters have a 13-second awakening, right? Makes it all that much better. So for 13 seconds, while you're spamming your skills, you're constantly going to be applying the dot effect that they have with this type of core effect. And that's pretty damn powerful. That is extremely powerful and just amazing. So I really undervalued this kind of core effect because I didn't really understand how good it was or really how it worked, right? I didn't really know that you were landing hits to apply the dot effect. I thought you just had to do your active skills, and I just didn't think it'd be good enough. But it proves to be quite insane and powerful. And in a way, it's actually kind of, well, not really. Because even when you got lasting dot effects, say on a skill, you're still going to always apply that dot because you're going to be spamming your skill. So it's really about the same in that regard. But it's still very, very powerful because you're always applying the dot effect that you need to break the meter or apply to a boss to weaken them so you're able to do more damage, which is freaking amazing. Wow. Super, super impressed with this. So let me know what y'all think about these certain types of core effects. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.